Welcome to the Better Beers Podcast, episode 16. Brandon, Alex, Earl, back at it again. What's up, guys? How you doing?
Evening.
Yeah.
We're back again. Hey, we're getting into some warm weather. We're getting the 60s here soon next week. So after all that talk about cold weather a couple episodes ago and everything, I can't wait. Get that outside beer drinking, cornhole weather going.
That's actually an idea. I might just take off of work just to do some golfing.
There you go.
Yeah.
Hit a bucket of balls or something.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. All right, so tonight we're featuring, like we mentioned the last couple episodes, we're kind of featuring a new style of beer every podcast. So tonight was my pick, and I picked a brown ale, as you see in my background. We're featuring different brown ales tonight. We're also bringing back the draft tonight, and we're just going to change up the order a little bit. We're going to do the draft first for a reason, and I'll mention the draft topic once we get to it. And then we'll do some would you rathers based on that topic. But before we get there, like how was your guys this week? My week was long as hell. My work brought back overtime again, which was good. I've been wanting them to bring back weekly overtime because it's extra money, some good extra money. But damn, I was already a lazy slob during the week as it was. Now I'm working, 10 plus hours every day. I got no life during the week.
No, you have more of an excuse to be lazy now.
Yeah.
So it's like I'm working 50, 60 hours. I can lay around because I earned it.
Yeah, exactly.
When you work 40 hours and you do nothing after work, it's like, yeah, I was lazy.
Yeah. When Friday comes and we can do this podcast, drink some beers, I definitely look forward to it.
Right.
Hey.
So all my work happens in the same room that I'm sitting in doing this podcast right now. So, my daily commute's pretty quick. But yeah, lately I've been doing the whole military thing. So
you got drill weekend this weekend, right?
Yeah. I've had it for the past 2 days now, and then coming up the next 2 days, we're going out to the range, and that's why I'm all clean shaven.
He's clean shaven. Look, he's dedicated. He's got drill weekend. He still shows up for the podcast and drinking with us.
It's actually kind of funny story. So on my lunch today, I went to pick up some beer for the podcast. I was up north. There was a lot of new liquor stores out there that I haven't been to in a while. So I figured I'd, see what they had. And this nice guy behind me, I was in uniform, of course. He just leaned over and said, "Hey, is that all you have?" And I said, "Yeah." He's like, "Yeah, I got it." And he paid for my stuff and, paid for his. So
nice. Still good people out there.
That's a good American citizen right there.
There you go. No, my week was fine. Last week of the month is usually the busiest for me. So this past week was doing end of the month stuff, reports that had to be submitted. And it's funny, they got me joining all these conference calls the last second that they're doing. I got an email at like 10:02. It says, "Join this conference call at 10 o'clock." And I'm like in the middle of something. I'm like, crap. Yeah. So I got to get on. And of course, it was worthless for me. It was really, I got nothing out of it, and I really didn't even need to be there. But it's been one of those where everyone's like, hurry up and wait type situation. So a little frustrating, but I've had worse weeks. So not too bad. But we've had really nice weather here too. It's not been raining. It's been sunshine. We had one day in the 60s. It kind of went to like breezy in the low 50s today. But it's still been nice. Nice to see the sunshine. That's for sure.
Yeah, the weather's getting better, and not to obviously get into too many politics or anything, but some states are decreasing their rules and regulations for certain things. Yes. Maybe we're going in the right directions for things getting back to normal. We'll see.
Yeah, for sure.
So
just in time for the summer.
Exactly. Perfect time. So we'll transition into featuring our beers for the night. You want me to go first just because I picked it?
Yeah, there you go. This is Brandon's pick.
Yep. So I picked a brown ale, and I picked a brown ale as our featured beer because as some of you watching might have seen on our Facebook feed, and I think we talked about it last episode as well, that me, Alex, and our buddy Mike, they came up to where I live, and we went to a restaurant called Iron Abbey that has a kind of beer cellar upstairs that has a selection of 400 plus different beers. And I found this brown ale up there, so I wanted to feature in the podcast. For one, obviously everyone knows watching, I love can art, so it has really cool can art. For number one, I haven't tried the actual beer yet, so once I open it up, I'll let you know how it tastes. But it's a espresso bean double brown ale. It's called Electron Brown. Kind of got like a soldier.
It's kind cool. I like that.
You know what he looks kind of like? A villain.
A villain. That's a good segue into what our drafting topic is tonight. Villains. But
what brewery is that?
The brewery is Old Nation. It's let's see where it's based out of. Michigan. Williamstown,
Michigan's got a
Michigan.
lot of good breweries.
Yeah. Old Nation Brewing Company. Yep. So like the can art. It's 8.1%.
Cool.
Let me pour it in the glass here, see what it looks like. Nice dark brown ale. My Stella glass. Oh, too much head. Too much head. Too much head.
Yeah, I'm gonna. That's too
I'll
easy.
let-
I'm not even
I'll
gonna
let-
say anything. That one's too
I'll let,
easy. I'm not even gonna say it.
I'll let
That
one
is
of you
pretty
go.
dark.
Yeah. Ooh. You can smell like the espresso, kind of coffee smell to it. Ooh.
Ooh.
It's not. It's not.
Ooh.
Yeah. It's not heavy. It's like it's kind of light, but it's got that a hint of the espresso in there. And other than that, it has your typical like brown ale flavor to it. But that's good.
Different.
Yeah, it's different.
Cool. That's awesome.
All right.
I don't think I've had a brown ale with like a coffee twist to it.
Yeah, I don't think I have either.
It's always
I
like really malty, sweet type
Yeah.
thing. Or
By the way,
nutty, maybe.
You really taste the coffee on the back end. Like once it
Yeah.
settles down, really like the back of your tongue, I really taste it. Which I don't mind. Ooh, that's good. I like that.
Ooh.
I
That's
recommend
awesome.
that. Yeah.
That's going up on Untapped.
Oh yeah. Earl, you go next.
Okay. Well, I had trouble finding a brown ale. It's funny because Alex texted me earlier. He said, "Why did Brandon have to pick a beer that's hard to find?" I wouldn't have thought it'd been hard to find, but yeah, it was for some because it's like IPAs everywhere, and if it's not an IPA, it's a imperial stout. It's just like one extreme or the other type thing. And the brown ale is usually pretty relatively down the middle, but High Wire Brewing Company out of Asheville, North Carolina, Bed of Nails brown ale. So there's that, and on the back it's got like a drawing of someone laying on a bed of nails.
Bed of Nails also is a good segue into what our draft is.
Yeah.
Some villains might
Um,
use.
Yeah, Bed of Nails crafted as an American ode to traditional English brown. And that is, a lot of brown ales have got that English taste to it. They got like that toffee and malty taste to it. So I've never had it. I came across a beer store. I was like, oh, there's a brown. Actually, they had like at least two that I know. And the other one I've had before and I wasn't a big fan of. So at least I'm trying something I've never had. This is a lot lighter than Brandon's. It's only 6.1%, so I can drink these all day.
Oh yeah, that's definitely good all day drinking beer.
Yeah.
I don't know. It looks pretty dark on this angle.
it's like it's a dark amber. Like
Yeah.
it's definitely brown color. And the foam itself has got like a brown tint to it too.
Yeah, I can
Oh,
tell.
sweet.
It looks like it would let just a little bit of light through.
It does. Yeah, it does. So because like I see the light reflecting off the bottom.
Yep.
Yeah, that's sweet. That is what a brown ale typically is. Almost like a little nutty flavor to it also. Yeah, that's good.
Nice.
Yeah, I like it. Not bad.
Cool.
It's not phenomenal, but it's good.
Yeah. All right, Alex, what you got?
So I had
Yeah,
trouble
finding.
finding it, and I ended up getting this nut brown ale, Samuel Smith's.
Ooh, fancy bottle.
Yeah. It's
Is it an import?
brewed. Yeah, it's imported from England.
Yeah.
So this is an actual English brown ale.
It looks small. What size is that? Like, does it have the ounces?
It's a little skinny. And
yeah, that's what I'm saying. It looks like it.
Says
They do ounces or just milliliters or
12 ounces.
okay, it's just tall maybe I guess.
Yeah.
Yeah, it looks tall.
Yeah, it's pretty interesting. It's only 5% alcohol.
So what makes a better beer bottle? The length or the width? No, I'm sorry.
English brown ales are usually around like 5%, right?
Yeah. It's very like the bitters.
When I think of English brown ale, I think of Newcastle brown ale.
Yeah. Yes. Yeah.
That's an English brown. I love that one. That's
Yeah.
good, like-
It's very very simple down the middle road but it's
Yeah.
very sweet and malty, which is what they. I mean, I've never been to England, but my understanding, Brandon, you would know, is they tend to lean more towards the sweeter and maltier beers as opposed to like the hoppy.
definitely not hoppy for sure.
Yeah.
Sweeter, maltier, or just a lot bitter.
Right. Yeah. Bitter, not hoppy or
Not hoppy.
weedy either.
It-
Like,
and
the
they
weeds are
have
more
the-
Belgian sides.
They have IPAs over there, but it's not the IPAs like here. It's definitely not, like you said, hoppy like they are over here. It's totally different.
Okay.
And they're not
I-
strong.
I would
It's
love to
hard-
travel to Europe sometime just to drink beer.
Yeah. You go over there, you don't find beers. If you drink an IPA over there or whatever, any kind of beer, it's usually 3 to 5%, which is I think I mentioned this in a previous episode before that it's like 3 to 5%, but for some reason they get you just as messed up as beers that you think are 7 or 8% over here. I don't know what's different or why, but I just know
their equation's a little different somehow.
their equation's different. I don't know. Maybe it's because it's like stored at cellar temperature.
I'm going to research that. I'm going to research that.
Definitely.
Sure. I want to try to have an answer for that next podcast because you're right. That's the second time you've brought that up, and I am very curious now because it's got to be some sort of different standard of measurement that they're using with that putting the numbers on the can. So,
how's that taste?
Really? Yeah, it's pretty good. I'm reading the description on the back of the bottle. It talks a lot about the actual brewery itself. The brewery started back in 1758. It's a very old brewery.
Oh, I like that.
And this is like based off of the traditional English brown ale recipe and like you guys were just saying, it's 5%. It's very clean. It's a very clean tasting brown. It's not something that you would expect to taste coming out of something this dark. It's not completely dark. It's like a dark amber.
Oh yeah, yours definitely.
Sure, yeah. Well, yours it's like a little bit of light in, like you said, mine's doing. So
yep, but it's pretty good. I mean, it's not a ton going on. I'm sure Brandon, yours has probably got a little more flavor to it because of the espresso and
all the different things.
Yeah.
Double espresso. Yeah,
but bad, though. Sometimes I like having really complicated beers. That's probably I want something I can sit and think about and pick out all these different flavors. But every now and then, you just want something. You just want to drink the beer.
I'll tell you what though. I know we talked about this last podcast about like warmer beers or beers served at room temp. As this has been sitting out of the fridge for just a little bit, and it's starting to like become more room temp. The flavor is definitely changing. I wasn't able to taste very much when it was like super cold, and now more of the flavors coming out. So
cool.
Maybe this beer is going to get even better by the time I get myself through this this 4-pack here.
Yeah,
there you go.
So before we move on, I was talking to Earl about this before you got on, Alex. But I have a backup brown ale that I bought a 4-pack of from my local brewery, which just like Earl said, it was hard to find brown ales there. I think I found 2. Like I had this one from the Iron Abbey, but I found 2 there. But this one's from Founders, which
Founders
is a great brewery. Yeah.
And when I bought this, I didn't look at the alcohol percentage. It just sounded good. It's an imperial brown ale brewed with Sumatra coffee aged in bourbon barrels. It's very, very good. 11.9%. I found out later.
Whoa!
I really want to try that though.
It's so good. It's really good. I was at my girlfriend's house before here. I opened up, started drinking it. I had one beer before that. Started drinking it. I'm like, and she said, it's 11.9%. I'm like, no, I did not know. I didn't even look at that. I said, let me cap that back up now because I don't need a hangover by the time the podcast starts, because you drink enough of these, it'll give you a headache.
It's funny you found 2 coffee flavored.
I know, right?
Yeah. But I don't think I've ever had something that was coffee forward and aged in bourbon barrels.
I know. And you taste both. I actually taste coffee in the front end more so than the other one.
Okay.
And you definitely taste the bourbon, like the flavor from the bourbon barrels in there, like right off the get-go. But it's in a good way. It does taste kind of strong. Like it does hit you like a strong beer would. It's good though. But I don't know if I drink a 4-pack in like an hour though or anything. Because
I love it though. I love finding different beers, and their breweries are still trying different things. That's what I love.
That's what it looks like.
Still experimenting. It's awesome.
Yeah, it's good.
Nice.
But yeah, that's
it seems like everything ages well in bourbon barrels. Anything that says, aged in bourbon barrels. Like I just want to build a house out of a bourbon barrel so that I can say, yeah, I'm aging pretty well.
Yeah,
Dogfish did a couple red wine barrel aging too.
Yeah,
that turned out really well. They're red and white, I think. But
I think port wine barrels I've seen.
Yeah, it's just the bourbon barrels are definitely more of a punch you in the face type flavor profile. So
right,
that's usually why beer lovers go to that, I guess.
Yeah, cause I feel like they use that a lot. And for everyone watching it, by now, you know that we love craft beer and bourbon or whiskey in general. So that's a good combination for sure. But all right, so we got some good beers for the night. We'll be drinking those throughout. So let's get, like I mentioned before, we're doing our draft first this time instead of later because our draft topic for the night, which I picked, is villains. But it's not. We're excluding any villains from any superhero comics / movies. So no Marvel, no DC. We're doing just strictly anything else. Anything else goes. Basically, it could be Disney movies, villains. It could be fantasy movies. It could be horror movies. Anything else besides Marvel, DC. So no, like Thanos or Joker, that kind of stuff. We'll save that for a different podcast because that's a whole category in itself.
Okay.
It is.
Villains.
Yeah, for sure.
It is.
But by the way, Alice, I like your background. That's good. That's proper
Thanks.
for the night.
Yeah.
So we're going to do the draft first because I have some would you rather questions that are related to villains, and I didn't want to like spoil anything beforehand before we actually do the draft. That makes sense. So, just like if you haven't watched our past episodes, the draft is basically if you play fantasy football, we're literally taking turns drafting our own team of villains. So for this episode, I'm going to go first because it was my topic for the night. Earl's going second. Alex will go third.
We snaking back on.
And we're snaking. So I'll go
Okay.
first. I'll get one pick. Earl gets a pick, and Alex will get 2 picks. So he'll have his third pick, then fourth, and I'll go back to Earl, back to me, and I'll have 2, and we'll go around that way. And we'll do I guess 4 rounds like we usually do. And then after 4 rounds, we'll talk about any extras that we had that we didn't mention. We'll talk about those.
Cool.
And after that, we'll just talk about it's open season after that, talking about villains, heroes versus villains, whatever. I got some would you rathers, and that'll be the podcast.
Cool. Let's
Cool.
roll.
All right. So for my first pick is a personal favorite of mine, but also a crowd pleaser, which surprisingly, a lot of my picks aren't crowd pleasers, they're actually personal favorites, but this one's going to be both, I think. I got to go with the good old classic.
Oh, okay. All right. That's fair. That's good.
I'm your father. Darth
Yeah, that's a
Vader.
good one.
Darth
Oh,
Vader, the
yeah.
classic villain.
For some reason, that didn't even come to mind.
Yeah.
I like that.
Number one. I know that people love it. I love him. So that's my number one pick for my first villain.
He's, Darth Vader being who Darth Vader is in the first 3 movies, the backstory that you later learn about, and after the next 3 came out, the prequel movies that came out 20 years later, just learning the backstory from a kid all the way up to when him becoming evil almost makes him a villain that you love to hate type thing.
Exactly. Yeah. Because you initially just hated him from, when the first 3 came out.
Yeah.
Well, the first 3 released, not, obviously not in order or whatever, but yeah. Later you begin to sympathize with how he became Darth Vader and the character he is.
That's good.
So,
Well, and
I like
there's a whole series of books too that go even deeper into his past and growing up. And from what I understand, I'm not too into it myself, but I know people who have read all the books. And apparently, for those diehard Star Wars fans, Episode 1 just doesn't even exist on their radar. Apparently, it was not done very well and doesn't quite match.
It feels like it's a little rushed too, though.
Apparently, that whole series, though, right? Those 3 episodes that were the prequels, people aren't a fan of, right?
Well, Disney tends to improve everything that they touch.
Yeah.
So,
but were they weren't Disney? Had Disney bought?
They weren't.
Star Wars back then.
They didn't become Disney until
at least after there's 3.
Yeah.
And then I think they bought the franchise, and then they started doing the Clone Wars and the Mandalorian and stuff like that. I think.
Yeah.
Right.
I don't know.
Which, by the way, the Mandalorian and all those are awesome. But,
Yeah, I was actually pleasantly surprised by it. It's a neat little story, and especially how the last one ends. And the I don't know, I don't want to give any spoilers away, but the person who shows up right at the end of the last one of the most recent series, I thought that was neat. I don't know how they did that, to be honest, but I thought that was neat. So anyway,
for sure. All right, Earl, you're up.
My number one, I was so afraid that somebody was going to pick it, is Hannibal Lecter.
Ooh, rather go on.
Yeah.
And he is one of these. He's the villain, but he's very suave and easy. He, in the very beginning of the Silence of the Lambs movies, that crazy guy that was in the cell one cell over from him, who did something to Clarice as she was walking out after their first interview. She comes back and the guy had killed himself just by Hannibal Lecter talking to him all night long.
Yeah.
I mean, come on. It's like to be able to get in people's heads like that. And then the Hannibal, the sequel, the Hannibal movie, the type of person he was, and just the ruthless killer, but very cavalier in how he did it, while they're trying to track him down. It was just he's I don't know. It's one of those brilliant villains that is just.
I mean, when you think of horror film villains, like that's like one of the first come to mind.
100%, yeah,
for sure. No, that's good.
That's my number one, absolutely. Just because of he's not just one of these ruthless, killing people. Just I'm going around just bloodthirsty killing. He is like super intelligent.
Yeah,
just went a different way with his life.
Yeah.
I like that one. That's a good horror film pick. All right, Alex, you're up. What you got?
So y'all know me.
You got two picks.
I like to
Yeah, you get to.
I like to upset the flow of things. So my very first pick is going to be slightly controversial, just because this particular movie and this particular villain in the movie, it has been debated on who the villain actually was.
Oh, I like this. Okay.
In the basic storyline, on its face, it seems like this person was the victim, because the description is fairly innocent. However, if you really go into the acts that this victim used to defend themselves, it quickly turns into maybe they were the actual villain all along.
I think I might know your pick. Hang on.
And this person is...
Don't say it yet. I just want to type it down in case I guess it right.
Okay.
All right, go ahead.
Kevin McAllister.
Oh, shit. No, I was wrong.
From Home Alone.
Really? Okay.
That's stupid.
Yes.
Wait a
Why
minute.
would you say that?
So they have had this has actually been talked about in other podcasts before too, and the Mythbusters have gone through every single trap that Kevin McAllister set for, was it Harry and Marv. So every trap that was set for Harry and Marv would have caused some permanent and potentially mortal injury to them at every turn.
I'm sorry, but if Harry or Marv tried to break into my house when I was in there, I'd probably shoot him. So
he was defending himself. He's defending himself. I wouldn't call him the villain.
To be fair, he was having fun doing it too, though.
He was having fun doing
but
it. And that was like that was the big debate, though. It's like, okay, this kid, they're by themselves in this massive house, and he's devising all of these, little ways to try to not
battle off the villains,
defend, but also lead them into traps.
Wow.
And that can only be done by a true
I think me and Earl need to vote on this.
No, that's
I'm gonna say no.
He's also a kid.
Yeah, he's a kid.
Yes, he's a kid. That makes him the perfect villain.
It was two bad guys trying to break into the house.
Yeah.
Yes, he was clever. He was clever to make traps to defend himself, but he wasn't the villain. He wasn't actively trying to hurt anybody like villains would.
I mean, honestly,
he wasn't doing it because of malice. He was doing it in a defensive way. But he was having fun doing it.
Think of any villain. All these other villains we're going to mention tonight. Think of any villain. Not one of them was defending themselves. They go out to do acts of evil as a primary
goal. There's malice.
I don't know. He might have a pretty dark future ahead of him, because
I don't think I'm counting that. You count that?
He can count it. Look, the point is these are draft picks. If you want to say, Rudolph the Red-Nosed Reindeer, you're just going to lose the draft. I'm sorry.
That's true. Yeah, you might as well say that because Rudolph was getting bullied, so he got back at him. So is he a villain now?
Hey, better let him play those reindeer games.
Alex,
I can't wait to hear your number two.
I don't want to get political here, but it sounds like you're trying to rewrite history to make people getting bullied now the bad guys.
Yeah. Oh my gosh!
I think we should cancel it.
That was I did not.
Yeah. I'm doing cancel culture right here.
I did not see that coming. I'll say that much.
All right.
I
have better picks. No, I've got better picks.
That's your one. That's your one. That's your number one.
More.
Everyone watching, put your comments down below on what you think about that. Kevin McAllister as a villain. We'll see what they say.
And if Alex should be kicked off the podcast.
All right. So my next one, So I have two. So first one's going to be Keyface from Insidious: The Last Key. Have you guys seen the movie?
No.
All right. So have you seen any of the Insidious movies?
No.
I never even heard
the
of
horror
it.
movies.
Is that bad?
All right. Have you seen Annabelle
Yes.
or heard of it or anything? All right. So Annabelle, Insidious, and there's a couple of the Conjuring movies. So these horror movies are actually linked. Some of the same people are in them. This psychic woman is in a couple of these horror movies, and she goes around and
The little short one.
basically helps. Yeah.
Yeah.
No, not the short one. No.
Okay, I mean, I'm thinking about something different then.
So anyway, in this particular one, Keyface, which I had to actually look up the name of this demon because I don't think it was they were ever mentioned by name in the actual movie. But basically, it's a demon that attacks you, and all of its fingers are keys. And as you're screaming and the demon's holding you down, it pushes its key into the center of your neck and locks it, and you don't make a sound. You can't talk or anything like that. And then it just kills you slowly by like taking over you and possessing you. And
I've never been a big fan of those type of horror movies.
I just Googled Keyface. Oh my God, he's scary as hell.
yeah,
Holy shit.
yeah. It's one of those.
Is that like Hellraiser?
It's one of those
type?
movies that'll
Right.
make you start pieing corners in your own house.
I'll have Earl put up a picture of him right now.
Yeah, I will. Yeah.
Freaky as hell. So, whew, okay. I agree with your villain just by how he looks. Holy
Yeah.
crap.
And then on that same topic, because like I said, I was kind of going down a rabbit hole with some horror movies. And this
Can't
one
pick
is
another
also
one now.
kind of recent.
It's not your turn yet.
well,
You've already had your two.
no.
Okay,
well-
all right. Do I have to stay with Kevin?
Yeah, that's
Okay,
your pick.
all right.
Oh, okay.
Even if
All
it's a bad pick, it's your pick.
All right.
All right, fine. I'll fight that one to the death. No, go ahead and comment below,
Yeah, comment
and
below.
we'll have a nice little friendly debate that might turn not so friendly if you don't agree with me.
It makes it more fun, though, I guess.
Right?
Like, it's a very odd pick for a villain.
I've not.
Exactly.
I did not.
That's why
see
it
that
would be the
coming.
perfect villain. You would never expect it.
I give you props for thinking outside the box. You were just
No.
like way
There
outside
have
the
been
box.
evil children. Look, and this is not my pick, but look at Children of the Corn or Tommy Knockers. There have been evil children in movies.
Oh yeah, of course.
Or the ring. Like
Kevin was like Dennis the Menace.
Yeah. Oh,
He's
is Dennis and
he's
Menace a
not a
villain?
bad
That's a
guy.
good example. That's a good
Not a
example.
bad guy.
He's not
He's
a
a
villain.
menace.
He's a menace. He's menacing.
That doesn't
He's
make him.
menacing his
That
neighbor.
doesn't make him evil or a bad person.
He
Yeah.
could grow up to be a bad person.
Someone makes him.
You never know. He could
Hey,
grow up to be
hey.
Hannibal Lecter.
Yeah, no.
I'm pretty sure Macaulay
that-
Culkin had some issues after he grew up, but I think he's better now. But
It puts the lotion on the skin.
that's actually the only one too. But all right, I guess it's my turn.
Yeah.
It's like, yeah, it's like every time we get back around to Alex, we're gonna be arguing about Kevin McAllister again.
I really hate that I'm typing down
Yes.
Kevin McAllister right now, but whatever. Just pick.
All right, my next pick, because I'm trying to go on the movies that were out when I was growing up and stuff like that. The things I go back to remember. I'm trying not to think of movies that got released yesterday. So The Predator. I like The Predator. Even he was the one trying to kill Arnold Schwarzenegger. I'm talking about the original Predator movie.
Yeah.
But see, the premise of the Predators was they were hunters going from their home world to trying to hunt very challenging game. They didn't look at humans as humans. They looked at them as just game, which, that is kind of what hunters do on Earth now. That's what, humans do. They want something that's challenging. They want a good sporting chance. And even Predator, he would not, like, at one point when they were fighting face to face, he took off his mask that helped him breathe because of he couldn't breathe in this world because he wanted a sporting chance at this final duel. But I still think he's kind of the bad guy of that movie, and I think that's the premise was because Arnold Schwarzenegger, they were just trying to stay alive, that group of Army Rangers or whatever they were, and it ended up being mono v alien, but I think that's good because
No, that's a good pick.
I think back to
Predator.
that's my pick for
Great pick.
my number 2.
Have you seen the movie Alien versus Predator?
Yeah, I don't like it.
No. Well,
No,
they went
it was-
more into the whole Predator homeworld backstory.
Well, it's because they're both from outer space, I guess. But it was like, did you see Jason Goes to Space?
Yeah,
Like that was so stupid. I mean, it's like
It was
they put no effort into the storyline, no effort
No.
into the special effects, or they are just the actors at all. Like, I mean, they were budget actors at best. I'm sorry, but they were.
Yeah.
And like I said, there's no effort in the storyline. There's just how hacky can we get and hacking people up and make it last a full length movie. So
That's actually a really good point too. So when I was trying to come up with a list of villains and everything, and desperately trying to stay away from comic book villains,
know,
because
intentionally.
there's been so many comic book movies that have been coming out, so your mind automatically just defaults to Thanos or one of the other villains.
yeah,
And one of the villains that my mind defaulted to was it Doomsday from the Superman from the
yeah, from
and-
Superman. Yeah,
yeah.
Doomsday's one killed Superman.
right. And it's like, all right, so that final scene where they're fighting him, and like they're all just so to me it was lazy, and this goes for all of the similar villain finals, fight scenes, is like it's
like
almost
they ran
set
out of money towards the end of the movie.
right. It feels like you're fighting the final boss in a game.
Yeah,
Like, and there like there's not much of a scenery change, and that big fight. Like, I'm pretty sure Doomsday was just standing on an island, and he didn't move. Like, he wasn't jumping all over the place. He was standing on the island and he was just shooting back. And
which is not how the comic. I have that comic book of Doomsday, Superman dies, Doomsday and Superman, that fight.
yeah,
That's not how the comic book went. But anyway, yeah, it's just it makes you wonder. That sometimes when people notice when movie makers cut corners,
I know, right?
they notice. So I don't know why they do it. I don't know why
I don't
they
know
do
why
it.
either,
But
because I feel like sometimes they cut corners. Like, yeah, I don't get it, because like the comic books are so good. They say they're like doing that to appeal to the audience, but the comic books are so good. Why change it? Like, you're literally making that based off the popularity and fandom of the comic books. Why change it? Like, even beyond comic books, even just like movies they make based off normal books.
I'll tell you why. Because I'll tell you why. The same thing with the Star Wars or with anything that they take a book and make it into a movie, is because they want to appeal to the nerd, the super hardcore followers, but they also want to appeal to the mass public, and they're trying to get as much money in. It's like, I'm going to make an IPA, but I'm not going to make it too complicated, or I'm going to make a lager. I don't want. It's going to be craft. It's going to be different. It's going to be better than Budweiser, but it's not going to be too complicated, because I want to get the non-normal craft beer drinkers, and I want to get the craft beer drinkers. I want to get everybody, and so that's what they do. They try to appeal to as many people as possible to be able to make as much money as possible. I'm not saying it's wrong, but I'm saying that if you do that, if you don't pay attention to what you're doing, you really screw up the end product.
Yeah, if you stray too far away from the original product, it can be bad. But and some movies were okay. Like for example, I'll bring up the Harry Potter movies. Like, obviously, I think that's a good example to where they included what they needed to, because obviously with those books, they're really long. You can't include everything in the books, or just be like the movies will be 20 movies, 5 hours long each, or whatever. You know what I mean? Like, really long.
For sure.
But they did an okay job including what needed to be included. But there's some movies that come out, whether it's based on comic books or whatever, where they just cut so many corners where you really lose the audience of the original hardcore fans. You know what I mean? So I don't know.
No, I agree.
I guess it's a fine line.
It is. It's and I get that would be a hard thing to juggle, and you almost got to accept certain losses at a point. But
all right, cool. So I'm up. So all right, I get two. Sweet. All right, my first one is going to be kind of random. I think people will like it.
Not as random as mine.
Well, probably not as random as yours for sure. Judge Doom from Roger Rabbit.
oh, that's a great one. I like that.
I know, right? Dude, Roger Rabbit is a classic.
Dude, I'm jealous.
And he was kind of like two villains, because there was a version of him as a human and a version of him as a cartoon.
Yeah.
And once he was a cartoon, he was crazy, wild,
Yeah, Christopher
big red
Reeve.
eyes.
Yeah.
And he would drown the tunes in the green chemicals. What was it? I think it was like whatever you call it.
I can't remember what they called it.
The slime or something like that, or the dip or something like that.
Yeah, dip. That was it.
Dip.
Dip.
Oh, that was the dip.
Yeah.
Yeah, the dip.
Yeah.
But
I don't know. I was like, 5 years old and I couldn't stop looking at Jessica. That's I don't know.
All of us. That was like, I don't know. I anyone younger watching this may never seen Roger Rabbit. That was such a great movie as far as like including humans and cartoons together at Toonland and all that kind of stuff. But he was the best villain in that kind
No
of. I don't know.
CGI in that either. CGI
No.
was not a thing back then.
Yeah.
So I think everyone, if you've not seen it, that is one of those bucket list movies to say that you've watched, because that was a definite crossover type movie from, with special effects and everything.
Yeah.
So
The closest comparison I think might have been around the same time, but maybe later. But like Space Jam, is that kind of around the same time?
no, that was a little bit later. I think that
Later.
was like mid-90s, and Who Framed Roger Rabbit
Okay.
was like late 80s, I think. But
All right. Okay.
no, but you're right. It was a mix of cartoon. It
And
was
kinda like
a legit
idea.
cartoon and
Yeah.
real people.
Yeah, but like even like so Who Framed Roger Rabbit, when they filmed that, like you watch some of the behind the scenes of some of the CGI films, and like especially for the actors, so that the actor has something to actually interact with. Like for example, the movie Ted with Mark Wahlberg. They actually would put a teddy bear that looks like Ted on the couch while they're having their back and forth scenes. And so that way it gives the actor something to actually interact with. Whereas back then they were just talking to air,
Yeah.
when he was pulling Roger Rabbit
By the
out
ears.
of the freaking wall by the bunny ears and everything. Like he was pulling air. Like it's just, wow.
Yeah, you're right. And then it's up to the animators to put him exactly in that hand.
Yeah.
Throughout for each frame. So
Yeah.
No, it's definitely a different techniques back then.
I feel like that's definitely a movie. Like
That's a great one. I love
maybe
that one.
I'm wrong. Like I feel like kids nowadays could also enjoy that.
Yeah.
Oh, absolutely.
But, some movies are so outdated that they won't enjoy it. But like that was a classic. That was good.
Agreed.
That's my first one, and my second one. Ooh, these two are really close. I gotta think of which ones you guys might take. I don't think Earl would take this one. I mean, not that you might not have on your list somewhere, but not. I'm gonna go. Actually, Earl might. I'm gonna go with this one because Earl might take it since he's next, because I know he likes this cartoon / TV show. I'm taking Shredder.
Cool. I like it.
I know you've mentioned
Yeah.
Ninja Turtles before, as far as like
Yeah.
like one of your favorite video games from the 90s, that kind of stuff. Shredder is just a classic villain from a classic cartoon, even like the live
He actually
action
did really
movies.
good in the Ninja Turtle movie too.
Yeah, exactly. So
Mm.
Shredder's definitely my second pick for sure.
That's good. I like it.
Are you
So,
up?
Yep, I'm up. I'm gonna go a different direction and go with Dr. Evil. Because the memes and I mean just it's just I won't say he's relatable, but everyone laughed at all his stupid mannerisms, because I mean it was it's a one of those spoof movies making fun of James Bond type movies and stuff like that. But Dr. Evil was just such a great character everyone loved, and he was just hilarious, and like I said, very very memeable person even today. So
yeah.
Oh yeah,
definitely going with Dr. Evil.
No, that's a good pick. I like that.
that's a good pick.
All right, Alex, you up?
All right,
You got two.
2. All
Dennis the
so-
Menace, right? Earl already spoiled it for you.
So first one is going to be Captain Spaulding from The Devil's Rejects and The House of a Thousand Corpses.
Yeah, that's a good one.
No, never saw
By
that.
Rob Zombie. Captain Spaulding. He is so he wears clown makeup.
Yep.
Which is the irony part of it, because the dude is not funny at all. And he's just, I mean, he's a serial killer. The whole family is. They're all crazy. But he, like, there's, especially in Devil's Rejects, there's a lot of scenes with just him in it and him interacting with regular people and kids, and man, he did some pretty messed up stuff in there. So he would definitely fit that supervillain. I mean, but really all of them would. But he definitely stands out as
for sure.
Yeah.
It's a good pick.
and I hate clowns, so
Yep. Any scary villain clowns are definitely up there.
And the next one would be Freddy Krueger.
Oh, that's on my
Classic.
list. It's not my next pick, but
Yeah.
definitely on my list.
Yeah,
That's
and honestly, so yes, he's a classic supervillain. He's a pretty popular go-to as far as like the basics and in horror movies. But what really stands out to me about Freddy Krueger is the fact that he attacks you while you're sleeping.
That's
in
the
your
thing.
dreams.
Yeah.
It's your dreams. It's not just you being asleep and he's going to come out of
Yeah.
nowhere. It's
Right.
your dreams. Like you're afraid
Exactly.
to even have a dream.
Yeah. And people
Controls
try,
your whole
people
dream
try,
world.
yeah, they try to stay awake to avoid him, but you can't. Eventually, you have to sleep.
You have to
Right.
face him eventually.
Yeah, once you doze
That's
off, you
what-
got to face him. Yeah.
Yep.
That's scary as shit.
Yeah.
No, see,
It
I
is.
like that because that's better than, in my opinion, that's better than Jason or
Yeah.
the key face guy, because it's not in your face slasher. It's a psychological aspect to it that really makes you have to, it really screws with your head, because
Yeah.
it's like, I'm not worried about the movie The Ring. I don't see anything crawling out of my TV anytime soon, or just the Exorcism of Emily Rose. It's just those crazy type, or Hellraiser. But the stuff that like, everyone sleeps, everyone dreams, and everyone has nightmares, and this is something that can actually affect you during your sleep, during your dreams, that everyone has. It's so relatable to a lot of people. So I'm definitely more on board with Freddy than some of the other slasher type movies, for sure.
I'd see this guy in my sleep.
He's not. Oh, yeah,
Yeah.
definitely. Sure. Freddy wasn't my first horror film. No, sorry. Freddy was my first. He's not my next pick on my list, but he was my first horror film pick on my list that you took. So,
Yeah.
or a villain, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
That's a good pick. I like that. All right, Earl, you were.
Did you have to have two? He did his two already?
Yep.
Yeah, Captain Spaulding and Freddy.
Dude, I had it in my head. Then I went on this whole Freddy rant. I really I had it. Okay. So
You want? I feel bad. Do you want me to?
no,
go?
it's like,
Or
for
you
some
just
reason, it's
think-
like I had it, and like then I went on this rant, and I'm like, crap. He's like, I forget now.
Was it a horror film?
No.
villain?
So
I'm trying to jog your
I'm
memory.
gonna go with it. I had other ones in my head too. It's just I had one that I was like ready with, and I'm like, where to go? No, it's okay. I got other ones. So I'm gonna go with Smith from the Matrix.
Well, Agent Smith, yeah.
The Agent Smith from
Yeah.
the Matrix, because he was one that he was the regular agent that that always fought against, but then he's the one that actually went rogue against all the other bad guys.
He was a virus.
Yeah, he turned into a virus against. He was not just the bad guy, but he took over all the other bad guys because of his obsession with beating Neo. And it's a very what was it, late 90s movie, early 2000s, and
Yeah.
to be honest, I'm not crazy with the way the Matrix went. I don't like how Neo had powers in the real world. I didn't like that. I thought
a lot of people
what
didn't.
made him special was the way he was able to manipulate the computer program that he was in and beat all the bad guys that nobody else could beat. But anyway, that aside, I think Smith turned out to be a computer program that had so much AI that it developed hate.
Yeah.
And it's something that computers aren't supposed to be able to do. They're not supposed to have emotions. But it was like that one part where he actually even took the earplug out so he couldn't get the signals from the other computer programs of what was going on, because he was completely rogue on his own. And he went from ones and zeros to being a self-identifying program that actually had human emotions, including hate. So
Yeah.
I thought that was neat.
That's definitely a good pick. He didn't quite make my list. He was like in my thoughts for sure. There's just so many you can pick.
There's so many.
Yeah,
Yeah.
he was definitely one I was gonna pick.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's definitely good option there. All right, so I have the last pick. So after I pick this last pick, we'll talk about some of our other options we had on our list, and we can spitball off that, because I do want to mention some of the other ones I had. But for my last pick, I have to pick this because I'm a Harry Potter fan, but it's not who you think. It's not who you think. It is not Lord Voldemort.
It's Harry Potter, isn't it?
It's not Harry.
Harry Potter was secretly
Alex
evil.
would pick that. I was like, oh, Harry Potter's a villain.
It's Harry
because-
Potter.
Yeah, because he was like actively going after Voldemort, but he would think of some reason. I don't know. He's the villain.
Well,
Yeah.
he was part of Voldemort's Horcrux. So, he
There we go.
was part of that.
Don't embrace the mocking.
He had to die
Yeah,
in order for Voldemort to die.
No. So it's not Harry Potter. It's not Voldemort. It's Dolores Umbridge.
Oh, okay.
I know, Earl, you didn't watch Harry Potter, right?
No
Yeah,
clue.
let's talk
No
about
clue who
this.
that is.
So, Alex, you did. You at least watched it, right?
Yeah, the whole
Yeah.
movie theater just erupted did well. I don't wanna
Dolores
give away anything,
Umbridge
but
is, sorry for my language, such a bitch. Like she is the most villainous villain ever. Like she was pure evil. Yeah, I think she's more evil than Voldemort.
yeah,
Like the amount of hell she put those kids through, and she literally made Harry sit there and write while everything he wrote, blood it was writing in at the back of his hand, and blood was coming out the back of his hand. Like she was evil, pure evil. So that's my villain. I got to pick a Harry Potter one. You know, to be honest, Voldemort wasn't even that evil. Like, come on, he was such a p word.
Yep. Yeah.
Like
it was.
Yeah, it was.
Well, he even was before he even became Voldemort.
Exactly.
You know?
Like he was not. He's like the worst villain ever. To be honest, I love Harry Potter, but he's the worst villain ever. He got beat so easily. All his Horcruxes got beat so easily. He got beat so easily in the end. He got gypped. Like, come on, you even think about the fact that he knew how the Horcruxes were made, so you didn't even like that didn't come to mind. Harry faked his death. I'm pretty sure it's not a spoiler at this point, right?
I don't know.
No,
yeah.
That's like a rhetorical question. It's been out forever. It's not a spoiler.
Yeah, I was gonna say you've either watched it at this point, or you don't plan on watching it.
Harry faked his own death, and he believed it. Like, come on. Like, anyway, Dolores Umbridge was evil. She's a villain in my eyes. She was, whatever. That's my pick.
That actually goes like into, for these actors and actresses that play these villains, that people just get so invested into hating. Like the actor that played Joffrey in Game of Thrones.
Well, that's a good villain.
Yeah. And he even he had some interviews with, a couple talk show hosts that were asking him like, hey, do you get people like, yelling at you on the street? He's like, all the time, you know? And they're like, well, how does it make you feel? Like, do you get defensive?
He did a good job acting. If that's what happened,
and that's he's like, it just shows that it's a compliment, and it's a good acting. I convinced them that I was the villain. I'm not like this in real life, but I mean, it's just they're so convinced that
exactly. That's a really good point, because like when reading the books and reading about Dolores Umbridge, I didn't feel that same feeling as I did when I watched the actress who played her play it. Like she was such a good job in that role. It made me hate that character so much more because of the actress.
She's like the OG. She's like the OG Karen.
Pretty much, she was the Karen. Exactly. God, it was a hate the face, hate the personality, hate the
Karen,
everything.
Karen of the wizard world.
Yeah,
it's funny you say that with the talking about how the actor is and how people react. There's actually some movies where the director will encourage really a hostile environment between the actors to keep that authentic feeling. Like, that you'll have the villain actors not spending time off set with the heroes or whatever, or even on set. They constantly create this, artificial tension between them at all times, so that when they actually are filming, it's a lot more realistic. I've seen a lot of back behind the scenes type movies where they did that. So it's interesting, but it's nice to see them that's the effort I'm talking about in making movies, because they think about those little extra things to just help it become so much more authentic.
Yeah,
and that's where I kept defaulting so much to the comic book villains, because I wanted so badly to bring up Heath Ledger's Joker.
100%. That would have been my first pick too.
To that point, the actor gets so deeply invested into the character, and they commit to this, especially a character like the Joker, who is crazy, that a lot of them are on the verge of becoming crazy themselves. Think of actors like Jim Carrey. Jim Carrey his acting range is so broad, and he's proven the fact that he can do more than just comedy.
Yeah.
And there's been plenty of times where he feels like he's even said, he's like, I've felt like that I've lost myself, and I'll go on a hiatus for 6 months just to kind of figure out who I am again, because I'll lose myself in all of these different characters that I play. Even if, like, when he played, was it a series of unfortunate events, where he was an actor playing an actor, or an actor playing, someone who acted on like almost like a Broadway stage. That's got to be like the epitome of inception to your own mind.
Well, he stopped acting for a while because of that. He stopped.
Yeah.
He was doing an interview with one of the Saturday Night Live, or no, one of the late night shows. I can't remember who it was, but he said he
was
stopped
Conan.
acting. Yeah, it's Conan, I think. He stopped acting because he's. I'm not sure if I'm saying this right, but he started believing more of what his characters were than what he was in his own personal life. Like he was
Right.
getting too invested, so he like stepped back from that.
See, it's the human condition, anyways. Because you hear about stories of whether it be cops or military people who go deep undercover for a long period of time, and it completely changes them, and they end up a completely different person, and not in a good way, and it takes them time to be able to come back out of that persona that they had to be, for the job or just to protect their life, and they became the monster that they were trying to get rid of in the very first place, because of the things that they had to witness, do, or be at least be around or something like that. So
Yeah.
I think it's just actors are just experiencing that disassociativeness, that anyone would if they actually completely throw themselves into a role.
Yeah.
Yep.
I guess it's kind of the same, is it not, with like Robin Williams? Like he was just like he had his own like personal demons he was dealing with, but he was so invested in his roles that they kind of like overshadowed what he was like dealing with.
Well, it
You
gave
guys
him
ever-
an escape, like a vice, like
Yeah.
I mean, and
Like,
playing
to
these
all of it.
different actors and
Yeah.
characters and everything can be just as addicting as cocaine.
And to all of us watching him, we just thought he was the most funny, that was his life. Like he was this funny comedian, like he had no issues, like that's what he was, but he had deep issues underlying, but his role came first, I guess.
Did you guys? Like I said, I think like Alex said, that was kind of his escape. Like
Yeah.
he was trying to hide the demons that he was dealing with, and he would just lose himself in his character that he had to be, and that was a way he was trying. That was his way of coping, but obviously it wasn't a healthy way of coping because it didn't work out. Did you guys ever see 1 Hour Photo?
Yes,
Dude, that was freaky. That was Robin Williams is the bad guy.
It was
like
freaky.
A seriously deranged bad guy.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's one of those really weird ones. So
that should have been, a red flag right there, because seriously, I
don't know. It's like that's the only time I've ever seen him play that role. So I wonder if it wasn't just him experimenting, or it's like he picked it up
some actors do that. They experiment with
I just maybe see how this works, and maybe it went too well, and he said, no, I'm not going back to that role again.
Well, how many years was that from his less serious roles like Mrs. Doubtfire and everything? I mean, that was like early 2000s.
That was late 90s. Yeah, early 2000s, late 90s was 1 Hour Photo, I think.
Yeah, so I mean, he had a stream of like non-serious comedic roles.
Oh yeah,
and he was doing his stand-up like a lot. He was all over the place with that, and I mean, really all over the place with that. Like I'm pretty sure there was stuff that came out that he was doing, like I don't know what drugs, but he was doing a bunch of drugs to keep him like as high strung as he was. I think I remember watching, and it was an HBO special of his stand-up, and he had like 20 water bottles on a table up on stage. And by the time he was done with his stand-up, which was only about 30 minutes, all the water bottles were empty.
Yeah.
Like, holy God. Like, I don't know people that drink that much water in a week, let alone in 40 minutes.
Yeah.
So,
you're right.
All right. Let's talk about, to get back on the draft real quick.
Yeah, we did kind of go different.
No, it's all right. It's all good. Hey, that's what we do. We spitball.
Yeah, that's right.
I just want to name some of my, first let me say what our picks were. So my picks were Darth Vader, Judge Doom from Roger Rabbit, Shredder from Ninja Turtles, and Dolores Umbridge from Harry Potter. That was my team. Earl was Hannibal Lecter, Predator, Dr. Evil, and Agent Smith. And Alex was Kevin McAllister. Comment below what you think about that.
Literally 2 bad guys in that movie. You picked the kid.
I know, right?
Yep. That's right.
Keyface, Captain Spaulding, and Freddy Krueger. That was his pick. So
Miss McAllister, Keyface.
I know, right? From one extreme
Jeez Louise.
I can't even say from one extreme to the other, because Kevin McAllister to me is not any extreme. But anyway, So some of my honorable mentions were I really wanted to say this one, but I didn't get to. But Beetlejuice,
That's a good one. Yeah, I like that.
a
Yeah.
good one on a
I thought about that one too.
yeah,
Yeah.
on a non-horror film. You know, kind
But
of
still the bad guy.
Still the bad
Yeah.
guy, but funny as shit. So as far as horror goes, besides Freddy Krueger, Jigsaw was my other one.
Mm.
On this all movies freak me out, so that was my horror film guy. Another off the wall one was Scar from Lion King
Lion
Yeah.
King.
as the
Okay.
villain or bad guy, and then my last two were Ghostface from Scream
Okay.
Yeah.
and Chucky was the other horror film one.
That's a good one,
Pretty
actually.
well,
That's a really interesting one too. That was a different. That's a really. They
That was
went
a different
way
one, but
with
like
those.
those movies, like Child's Play and like Leprechaun and the movies, the movies.
Leprechaun freaked me the hell out.
Yeah, it freaked you out. But you would watch it and like I would find myself getting
But there's boobies.
physically angry at the fact that they're like he's little, just kick him.
I know, right?
Exactly.
Yeah,
Rip their
that's
head off.
true.
Like
No,
I don't know
for
it's a
sure.
doll.
You get a little doll running at you with a knife. Okay.
Yeah.
I
that's true.
don't.
Yeah,
you know,
right.
I was just-
That's true.
I know. Now, I mean, then there was like Puppet Master, where all the toys were murdering,
I hate that. Yeah.
people and kids and everything. And I think one of them, you set the kid on fire.
Yeah.
That was a. But I mean, there wasn't one single villain in that. I don't think.
Yeah.
It was just.
Well, that's the thing.
toys.
Yeah. Now we're skewing into like just scary movies in general, because like
Right, and that's the rabbit hole that I was going down when
Yeah.
I was trying to build my list.
yeah. You guys have any honorable mentions that you had on your list?
Oh,
or thought of?
one came up when I was getting some ideas was the Terminator.
Oh, yeah.
T-1000?
Well,
That
no,
was
I'm
the
talking
one-
about Terminator. I'm talking about Arnold Schwarzenegger in the first Terminator, but that's the
Oh.
caveat that because in the second Terminator he got reprogrammed to be the protector.
Right.
And then, T-1000 was the bad
Yeah.
guy. So
Yeah.
no, I'm talking about Arnold Schwarzenegger actually.
Gotcha.
That role, but that was like it was a computer that but he was the villain and he got reprogrammed. So that was one that definitely came to mind.
Yeah.
I still can't think of the one I was trying to do earlier. It's so weird how you have something come to mind. And
Yeah,
Alex, you
I'm
have any more you
curious.
thought of?
Yeah, my honorable mention would probably be Pennywise.
Oh yeah, for
one.
sure. Yeah,
Yep.
that's a good one.
And he and again on the horror movie aspect, but the main reason why I thought Pennywise wasn't necessarily because of the horror movie, but because it was more than just a person in clown makeup. Like there was depth, to the villain there, and it was more of a villain play on the children's fears, which later turned into the grown, adults' fears. And once they realized that, if they didn't show any fear, then it would get weaker. It was like, I don't know. I never actually read the books or the book, it.
I heard that's actually pretty freaky. Actually, like
Is it? See,
yeah, I heard.
the whole,
From my understanding, don't read
the whole like alien part of it, all the way at the end, just kind of threw me. I was like, oh, okay. It's just I wasn't expecting it to go there, and I don't know.
Yeah. Did you think?
Yeah, that was my honorable mention.
If not, we can move on.
Yeah.
If you think of
There's
it,
so many good ones out there. It's just you could almost name these all day long because of the movies you grow up with. Oh yeah, another one I thought of. I just because it was such a fun movie to watch. The Princess Bride, the little bald Sicilian guy. Some of you guys have seen The Princess Bride.
Oh yeah,
when I hear that,
little bald, the guy.
I don't think I've seen it.
Okay, so in The Princess Bride, the original movie, they're supposed to be rescuing this princess who technically was kidnapped but also saved because I don't know. I don't want to spoil the movie for those who've seen it, but anyways, these three like pirate type guys go after what they thought was the bad guy turned out to be the good guy. It's a little weird. Anyway, one of the guys was Andre the Giant before he died, but he was the giant of the three. There's three guys. There's a Spaniard who was a skilled swordsman. There was the giant who was obviously super strong, and it was Andre the Giant. And then there was the little short bald Sicilian guy who was the brains of the operation. And he was the one that was always fun because they sat down at a table and they got what was it, some sort of poison that he poured in both cups, and they decided who was going to drink one from one and who was not. And so the guy was trying to use his mind, his wit, to outwit the pirate that they were trying to outwit, who turned out to be the good guy. Anyway, that little guy, he was just so funny. He was all about his intelligence and breaking down how everything else. And there's two great blunders. One is never start a land war in Asia, and the second is never mess with the Sicilian when death is on the line. And at that point, he dies. He actually lost because he actually did. He actually thought he won, but he didn't, and he was bragging. And all of a sudden, he just keels over and dies. It's just, I don't know. It's such a fun movie to watch, and for many different reasons. But that was he wasn't like a super villain slasher type guy, but he was like the evil mastermind who thought he was good, but really wasn't as smart as he thought he was. So I don't know. It's a good movie. It's a cult classic. That's for sure.
Yeah.
My name is Antonio Montoya.
Yeah.
You killed my father. Prepare to die.
Dude, did you know did you ever watch the original Criminal Minds show? Like
No.
the first season? He's
No.
the guy in the Criminal Minds. Who's the guy in the Criminal Minds, the really quiet, smart one.
Reed?
No. That's the kid. It's like the nerdy kid, but the older guy.
The original, yeah.
Yeah. So
yeah,
that's
about.
I didn't realize until after I was getting into Criminal Minds.
Yeah.
I went back and watched Princess Bride later on, and that was the younger him. That was a role he played when he was younger.
Right.
So anyway, it was pretty cool. But no, I can't think of any more off the top of my head, to be honest. So they're all so good, and it's nice to reminisce over some of these movies we grew up watching. That's for sure.
Yeah. All right. So before we end the show, let's do kind of like a speed round of some would you rather questions that I had brought up here relating to villains. And so we won't go too much in discussion with them. So we'll kind of like I said, a speed round, not to repeat myself. So this is a pick which villain you'd rather fight against. And would you rather? Would you rather fight against Michael Myers or Freddy Krueger?
Michael Myers. He walks slow. He doesn't chase you.
Freddy Krueger walks slow too.
But he's gonna get you in your dreams. Like you can't even fall asleep.
True.
It's like at least I can watch Michael Myers coming from a block away. He's like, all right, it's gonna take him 10 minutes to get here. I can figure out how to beat him because he's just gonna walk slow everywhere he goes.
Right.
But Freddy Krueger, you can't hide from. You go to sleep, he's there.
Yeah, Michael Myers. I agree.
Not Michael Myers for sure. 'Cause for all the reasons that we mentioned for
Yeah.
Freddy Krueger before.
Yeah, because it's funny we talked about that earlier too.
Exactly. That's why I
Yeah.
want to say these for after because I don't want to give anything away.
Right.
All right. So next one is which we technically brought both these guys up, and one was a pick. Would you rather fight against Agent Smith or Voldemort?
Both were mentioned.
Yeah, that's funny.
Both were mentioned. Now, for all the crap I gave Voldemort for being such a bitch, he does have a wand. He has magic, so he can, kill you with a lot of different magical spells or whatever. Agent Smith. Now here's the question: Agent Smith really only exists in the Matrix.
Right.
Yeah.
So,
Well, sorta. He comes back out into the real world by kind of like possessing.
Yeah, see, and that's where I didn't like the movies. I didn't like how it went like that. So I thought that was weird.
So let's assume either you're fighting against Agent Smith in the Matrix or Voldemort out, and obviously that kind of.
So Agent Smith gets to fight Voldemort in Agent Smith's world, and Voldemort gets to fight Agent.
No,
Smith.
who would you rather
Voldemort.
fight?
No, who would you personally rather fight against?
Who would I rather fight?
Yeah.
Oh,
That's who would you rather fight against?
I'm gonna say Baltimore. Even though he's got the magic and everything, it's like I don't know. At least I feel like I'd still have a chance to, I don't know, throw a freaking rocket and hit him in the face or something like that. then Agent Smith, who's just got all the crazy moves and shooting and everything like that.
yeah, but that's true though, because if I'm fighting Agent Smith, obviously I'm in the Matrix, and
Yeah,
that
you're
means
fighting
that
in
I
his
can get
world.
anything uploaded into
Yeah.
me on how to fight.
But are you Neo good, or are you everyone else good?
Well, Neo got all of his training and everything just by uploading it.
But all the rest of them had that same training, but they couldn't beat a single agent, let alone Smith. Neo was special.
So are you asking me if I'm the one?
Oh, you're the one. You're gonna follow the White Rabbit.
Yeah. Yeah.
I don't know. Yeah.
I'm not ready to start taking that blue pill yet, though. Maybe when I'm like 50. But
I think I'm picking Voldemort just because based on the fact I don't want to be in Agent Smith's world where he can control kind of whatever's going on in the way.
Yeah, because
So,
what movie was that? It was like the second one, I guess, where they're fighting or maybe it was the last one. They're fighting. It was the last one where they're fighting in the rain, but they're like it's all Smiths, but they're freaking they're going from sky level down through the ground, and they're just all over the darn place.
Yeah.
And
but to fight Voldemort, you would have to go all over the darn place anyway, because you had to find all the Horcruxes just to kill him.
that's true.
Yeah,
It's hard either way, as it makes it hard.
I know.
Yeah.
I still pick Baltimore.
Either way, it's not going to be just your typical heads up fight.
No.
Mano y mano.
Well, it's not supposed to be a good easy answer either way. But I think Brandon picks Baltimore because I think Brandon really knows all the spells secretly anyway. So
Wingardium Leviosa.
That'll make him float.
Yeah,
see, he knows. That's so funny.
Stupefy.
You got a wand, don't you?
I surprisingly do not have a wand. I've been to the Harry Potter park multiple times down in Florida, but I've never bought a wand because they're like $50.
Yeah, they are.
Our nephew got a wand. That was like his thing when we went to Universal. And of course, there's different areas you can move the wand and it'll make certain things happen. Yeah. But that was his thing, and so like that was his.
I just enjoyed watching kids do that.
Yeah,
sounded really creepy. I thought. But I'm saying, like, instead of me buying the one and doing it,
I live vicariously through children.
You never saw the adults do it. The kids usually done it, but I was amazed to watch the kids do it. And things happening, the water shooting at the fountain there, and a lot of other things.
Right. Yeah.
All right. So last villain battle one. Would you rather battle against Beetlejuice or Jabba the Hutt?
Jabba the Hutt.
Now you would think that, but Jabba the Hutt has a lot of resources. He has a lot of manpower. He's got,
so you're not just fighting.
You had to take that into account. He's got minions.
He's basically a mafia boss in a way. Yeah, he's fat and can't move and doesn't really.
That was the other one I was trying to think of. All right,
Jabba the Hutt.
No. Oh, going back to mafia. Does Don Corleone from Don Corleone from why can't. Oh my gosh! Classic mafia movie. Why can't...
No, Goodfellas?
No, my gosh, The Godfather. He's the Godfather. Yes, Don Corleone. It's like he's. I mean, you have to consider him a villain because when someone wants something done, he'll order someone to go kill somebody or put a dead horse head in someone's bed to entice them to do what they want him to do. Yeah. But he's also a family man. And he's a good person in that sense. And he stays away from dealing drugs and all this. It's like, he was the other one that I had stuck, that I kept trying to get out, but I couldn't get out.
There you go. Anyway, I helped you out with that.
Thank you. I don't know where we went with that, where we were before that, but.
I'm going to pick Beetlejuice just because.
Oh, yeah, that's right.
Jabba the Hutt has way more resources. I don't want to deal with his minions. He's got influence. Beetlejuice is an idiot. He's funny.
Yeah, he's a goof.
He's funny. He's a goof. But I feel like I have a better chance against him for whatever reason.
Yeah, what's the worst thing he did? He turned the railing into a big snake or something, or something stupid like that. And all you had to do was say his name 3 times, and he went away.
He could reanimate the dead.
Well, all you have to do is say his name 3 times, he goes away.
Or say it 3 times, and he comes back.
Yeah, I'm just saying though, it's that easy to defeat him. It's like somebody in the room say his name 3 times. He's slapping everyone before they say it the 3rd time, but somebody's gonna get it out.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'll go with Beetlejuice. Definitely easier. Like I say, he's a bit of a goof, and he doesn't go right at you.
Here's your pick.
I'm going to say Jabba the Hutt because if I'm fighting Jabba the Hutt, that means that I'm living in that world, and if I'm living in that world, there is a small chance that I might be a Jedi.
No, you're definitely not a Jedi. Yeah, you're the Jedi that goes around to all the younglings and kills the younglings because you think kids are evil.
Yeah,
that's the Jedi you are.
Yeah.
Oh, Jedi, Sith, same.
Yeah. I just know a couple of these real quick, and then we'll end the show. So this is which Disney villain? Which surprisingly we didn't mention any Disney villains.
No, you did. Scar.
You
I did. Well, as a honorable mention, yeah.
Right.
Which is funny. The Scar is actually in this first one. Which of these Disney villains would you rather work for?
Ooh,
working for him: Scar, or Captain Hook in this one?
Captain Hook would be more fun. I'd like to be a
Yeah.
pirate.
I don't want to be. I don't want to be a hyena.
Yeah.
Oh, so we're assuming we're a hyena, I guess. Sorry.
Oh, that's his. Yeah, that's
I guess it kind of makes sense. Yeah.
I
Yeah,
think being a pirate. I like the pirate. I think everyone likes. Nobody wants to be a pirate and killing and raping and pillaging and all that stuff. But there's a certain aspect of the pirating thing that's kind of enticing.
That's a good point. Yeah. Nah, I didn't think that as well.
Of course, all his pirates are really idiots, anyways. To be honest,
Yep.
because they're in a kid's world. But
I will do one more here. Bring it up.
that is a good one. Captain Hook is another good villain that's worth an honorable mention. I'll say.
Oh yeah.
All right. This is a random generator, but I don't even know these ones. Hang on. All right, see. Hang on, let me bring this up. All right, either would you rather work for Jafar from Aladdin?
Ooh, that's another good villain.
Or Ursula from the Little Mermaid?
Ugh. Jafar. I don't know.
I don't know.
Ursula.
I really hate Ursula.
I know.
She is.
She's
I
almost,
don't want to say the K name again, but I mean, come on.
yeah, she's another Karen. She reminds me of Dolores Umbridge.
Yeah,
Like,
she's got the
another
haircut and
Karen.
everything.
Yeah, face, all that stuff. Jafar's more evil than you think. You know what I mean? Like, but he's also dumb.
He is. He's very.
Like, I don't dumb in a way, in a sense of not thinking far enough ahead. He's not thinking he thinks he's thinking 2 steps ahead, but he's really not.
He thinks he's smarter than everyone in the room type person, and that's his downfall.
But he's got magic.
Yeah, he's got that.
Because of his staff, as long as he has his snake staff.
Yeah.
Right.
No, I'm picking Jafar because I don't want to work for Kate at all. No way. Or Karen. Let's say Kate. Karen. Karen.
I'm so glad your girlfriend's name isn't Kate. Oh, I'm in so much trouble right now. I don't know. Jafar's got one of my favorite quotes. It's like, you've heard the golden rule, right? Whoever has the gold makes the rules.
There you go.
That's one of my favorite quotes.
Yeah.
I don't know why. It's like a nice spin on the golden rule.
What's your pick, Alex?
I'm gonna have to pick Jafar only because I've had to listen to or watch The Little Mermaid a few times since we got a little 1-year-old moving around now, and she just so we put a lot of Disney music or Disney movies on because they break into musicals all the time, and whenever they start singing, she stops whatever she's doing and just stares at the TV.
That's why they do. That's why those old movies were like that. They don't do that with Disney movies anymore.
No, they don't.
Parents a break, like a small break.
But every single time they go into you poor unfortunate soul. God, I just want to, I start. If I'm like when I'm hearing that going on in the background, I'll start clanking them a little harder. Like, yeah. So, don't like you, Ursula.
There's worse. There's as the kid gets older, she will insist on certain shows that you will not be able to get away from. Now you get to pick the shows now,
right?
But it'll get worse. I promise. Don't worry.
All right, well, that's our episode. That's a good episode.
That's fun.
About villains, drink some good brown ales. Both of them are pretty much gone. Got a tiny bit left in this one.
I'm on my second one. It's almost gone. I got enough for a cheers.
I'm on my third one.
There's my second. Yep. Technically, third is 12%. So basically,
there
you go. Yeah, this is only 5%. So I'm only on my first one.
Yeah. So good episode, everyone. Thanks for watching episode 16 of our podcast. Be sure to comment below, subscribe, like, check us on social media. Alex is running it now, doing an awesome job. Follow us on Untapped and comment also any ideas that you might have for any segments in the future, and also comment on Alex's Kevin McAllister villain.
I mean, come on.
No bias, but come on that. But good episode, guys. Let's go play some Call of Duty.
Yep.
Cheers.
Cheers.